and welcome to the Square Base Show with your host, Rob and Val, sponsored by Ginger Steve today. And in this video, we are going to be looking at the big preview information.
It was light on information, but big things previewed, I would say.
I'd say so. I'd say we had quite a lot of information in there, which is very exciting. Obviously, let's just kind of catch everyone up with exactly what we're talking about. Leading up to this big preview that we've just watched together, you can go watch it on Twitch, but we have had this incredible 18-month run for the Old World, where one of the things that we've had is an amazing amount of Arcane Journals. We've had the whole roadmap. We've had everything released with a new faction released as well, none of which we were expecting. So now we're like, where does the Old World go from here?
Yep, because we figure this, about another year and a half of this.
Yes.
Right? Because if we're assuming a 3-year cycle, they've now got to fill 18 months with content.
Yes, a lot of content, potentially. So when we're coming into the Old World preview, what were you expecting to see?
Well, I was expecting to see 2 books. So we got the 2 books. We knew, of course, of one, which involves Grand Cathay and their Arcane Journal, and then apparently some other weird stuff. But then we got another reveal for the Arcane Journal following that one. And so that was very interesting to see. And then accompanying that, some surprise new minis.
We did. So we're going to go look at the article right now. I don't know what I was expecting. Oh, I've given you a bit of a sheen on your... There we go. You fixed it for yourself. I apologize. All right. Okay. So we're going to go through this article in a classic Rob and Val article read. So very excited about that. So the arrival of Grand Cathay into the Old World is just the beginning. There are yet more great new models to come and plenty more Arcane Journals on the way. Plenty more is crazy talk. Okay. Arcane Journals over the next few months, starting with the Tomb Kings of Khemri. So if you don't know and you haven't been keeping track, Tomb Kings were one of the 2 initial launch factions for the Old World in the January of 2024. And Correct. So now we are seeing these. Does this mean, a straight question off the bat without reading any further, do you expect then the next one to be Bretonnian themed?
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily at all. I just think they're setting up a big action with Settra. I think what we're going to get to see now, finally, is some stories. They've been very committed in when they're talking about the game, how grounded we are in this very specific time, in this very specific place. And we've seen some advancement in the narrative and some framing of what's going on in the Arcane Journals that have come out so far, but really nothing all that with that much grandeur. So now I think maybe we see with these Arcane Journals that aren't tethered to a specific army, maybe now we're going to see a bit more of that grand narrative unfold, and that'd be really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to call out one thing though.
Yeah, go for it.
Plenty more Arcane Journals in the next few months.
Oh, good spot, buddy. What?
That's a lot. That's a lot.
So if you don't know and you haven't been keeping track, Games Workshop, instead of doing the 40k Age of Sigmar thing where they'll drop a whole new book for a battle tome, and most of it will be the same, or a codex, instead what they've done is they've expanded on the initial release of rules that they gave us earlier at the launch. They gave us all of the rules and they've expanded on them through things called Arcane Journals. These have been pretty interesting. They have varied. We've done a show on the quality of those Arcane Journals and what we think's happening there. But these are really easy to digest. Also pretty cheap. They're pretty they're pretty small, right? 48 pages, because that kind of fits into a print run of these low impact print runs. And they're
like pamphlets.
Yeah. But they're pretty packed, and they're very cheaply priced as well, half the price of a codex.
Yeah, usually. They're definitely attainable. And the thing is too, now when you're putting hooks in there, it just provides back in the day you had 6th edition, they had all these compendiums that they kept putting out, I think largely made up of old White Dwarf articles. Old World doesn't have a big pipeline of White Dwarf stuff, but it seems to bring that vibe back where now they hinted, I think, at multiplayer rules in the Cathayan themed Arcane Journal. And I'm sure we're going to see different missions and things. So this is a real opportunity for the narrative grounded people, and also for the gamers like us out there, opportunities for some remixes or some spicy new rules. So I'm pretty excited. It'll be cool to see how these things develop.
If you're watching this live, let us know. But also, if you're watching this back as a YouTube comment, let us know what Arcane Journals you'd like to see. What kind of, like, for instance, with Slayers as an example, will we see like a more Slayer focused for Dwarfs? For Chaos Warriors, will we end up seeing things like, God marked Arcane Journals where we've got the forces of Khorne, the forces of Nurgle as an example? Like, which ones would you like to see, and what do you think is currently missing from the setting? Is there anything immediately that jumps out to you as something you think is missing?
Well, yeah, I think we don't have, so in the core rule book, in the big beautiful rule book, there are factions that are highlighted as factions in the old world. Cathay was one of them, but the other two that we have not heard or seen any rumor of are Norska as well as Kislev. So I don't feel like, I don't know why, but I don't feel like Kislev's imminent, but I feel like Norska could easily be like a remix style Arcane Journal where they give you an army list for them and maybe trot out some Forge World stuff and off you go. So maybe that's what we see.
Yeah, for me, it's just a army of renown for the fantastic Spider-Fang Grots. That's all I want. Some Spider-Fang goblins. Getting their
Forest
own
goblins.
Yeah, forest goblins. Sorry. Right, anyway.
Long demanded.
Royal Heralds. So this is some new minis they've released. As only fitting for their duty at the vanguard of Settra's war host, the first new models are the Royal Heralds of the Tomb Kings and Camry. These gorgeous new plastic miniatures act as battle standard bearer and Tomb King princes on foot or mounted upon Barded skeletal steed. So what do you think of that? So what do you think of these new models, buddy?
Well, this is sort of catching up the Tomb Kings range to where I think a lot of them are. Not everyone has it, but a lot of the factions have essentially a plastic kit that gives you a mounted, general type character, and or a foot general type character, and or a BSB. I know Orcs and Goblins have them, a bunch of them have them, and now we have a newly sculpted, quite pretty plastic kit for the Tomb Kings. My only thing is, of all of the core infantry to not to have been brought up to this standard, gosh darn it, these guys are going to look next to the old skeleton warriors. Look a little bit, or even that beautiful general, like on that really really cool skeletal horse, right next to the current skeleton horseman. It's going to be galling. But there are some great STLs out there if they're not your style. Also, yeah, but I mean. Just taking at face value, these guys are rad.
Yeah,
I think they're really cool.
I agree. I also like the multi-kits as well. I just built the Cathay version of the kind of BSB champ on foot guy.
Yeah.
And that's a great kit. It's really nice. And you definitely could see why you would buy a couple of the boxes, which obviously they want, but it feels like it's a good deal because it's 2 characters in a box. So you don't feel like you're doing too badly there, to be honest. With 3 right and left arm options, interchangeable across either model, you're free to build these however you want. Perhaps you want a hard-hitting Prince on Skeletal Steed, backed up by a Herald with Battle Standard Bearer on foot, or maybe you want a Battle Standard Bearer to be a bit more mobile. Again,
oh sweet.
Again, you'll be able to swap them between the two. So that's nice. Normally why you would buy one, right? I want a BSB on a horse, I want a BSB on foot, and you swap and you got a character on each. It's pretty cool. If you're one of the people who can magnetize it. But I do think magnets are maybe some sort of cursed magic to do.
They're tricky, especially on these models, because the points, the places where you could mag them are very small, so you might have to make a decision with them. And these guys, yeah. Wow.
So the stunning new Lich Priests also come in a pair, one on a barded skeletal steed and the other on foot. Lich Priests are integral to every Tomb King's army, blah, blah, blah. So again, you've got this kind of dual kit available to you as well.
And the Lich Priest specifically, I think, is one that just really could use an update for its model. I think the model goes back quite far. I'm pretty sure it's just pewter. And I guess you do have the one that comes on the zombie dragon that if you didn't build it on your zombie dragon, you can use them on foot. But man, this one, I think these guys look really gorgeous. Paint job is out of control good. These guys are just fabulous. The skeletal steed is really good. I love how how the barding has been accomplished on these. Skeleton horses are tough to do, in a way that doesn't look ludicrous. And I'm also very glad these are plastic and not resin, because man, that is a snappy.
It's still going to be snappy even in plastic. I'm going to say.
Yeah, true that. Yeah.
I would say that definitely what we're seeing from like the old world sculpts from SDS is we are not seeing them shy away from the concept of making something that's easy to get on the table. They definitely want labors of love as miniatures, both from sculpts and also from the artistic perspective, which I think is actually really, really nice. I know some people are going to be like, Rob, listen, I got to paint.
It's too busy.
It's too busy. I got to paint that. It's going to take me forever. And I completely understand. But I do feel like that department, or SDS at least, are creating works of art for you to buy and paint. They're not just making a mini that you can like. They're not really concerned that it's going to take you a long time. They're good painters already. They don't care that you're not.
Yeah.
So these look really good.
These two might be my favorite. Like the mounted lich priest is maybe my favorite mini from the preview. I really, really like him.
I think he's very stunning. Not mine, unfortunately. Okay.
Well, I know why.
So Arcane Journal, War of Settra's Fury. Arriving with the new plastic kits is an Arcane Journal describing Settra's full invasion into the Border Princes and the Vaults, the mountain range to the south of Bretonia, and the efforts of some unlikely allies in resetting it. This 48-page supplement is packed with lore behind the Bloody Tomb King's offensive and loads of content in your games. You'll find rules for the mounts for Kemrian characters, the incantations of the Mortuary Cult, and various armies of infamy, including Dwarven Slayers and Border Princes, alongside rules for smaller bouts of Warhammer the Old World.
Well, look at that.
Whoa, a little 4A
Slayer
pack.
army confirmed. And a 4A pack. That's right.
Slayer army and a Tomb King army and a Border Princes army. 3 armies of infamy in here.
That is very cool. I'm worried that the Border Princes are what we thought Dogs of War might be. Although I do think that a Border Princes army would be is a really, really cool idea. Right now we have the Bretonian Exiles that kind of fill that vibe of just things in the Border Princes. Again, Border Princes is supposed to be a very important like area of focus for Old World. So to give them an actual army to represent them on the table, I think that's cool. I really wonder what models they'll draw from for it. Empire and Bretonia probably. Yeah, and then a Slayer army, which was, there are a couple things in the Arcane Journals that were like, why didn't they do that? There was no Slayer army. There's no.
There was a pseudo Slayer army.
Yes, yeah, it's sort of. It's a backdoor Slayer army, but this is like proper Slayer army is pretty cool. Hopefully it gets some interesting rules. And then more stuff for Tomb King mortuary cults, eh? Okay, yeah. Let's see what that's all about.
I think because it was the first release and it was the release that we had like for a long time. It can feel like, we've had Tomb Kings forever because we have had them for the whole 18 months. Whereas if they were to be like a new Empire force, you'd be like, amazing, we just had Empire, and it'd feel like it's a little bit more. But I don't mind this. Seeing new Dwarfs, seeing new Bretonians all in this, that means you immediately kind of jump through those 3 of those first 4 books. So the next Arcane Journal, which could be several in the next few months, as they have said.
Yeah.
Could be Orcs and Goblins, they'll rifle through all the stuff that around that period of time. Warriors of Chaos, Empire. I mean, if they just did 3 of the first 4, the next 3 of the first 4 would be Orcs and Goblins, Warriors, and Empire.
Yeah, and those would roughly make sense from what we know what's going on in the storyline. Although I guess that mix is sounds like we haven't read about the Cathayan one yet, but I'm pretty sure Cathay is coming to the aid of Marienburg against Friedal.
Yes.
So that's sort of your Empire, your Chaos, and your Cathay.
Incredible stuff. I'm looking forward to this. So then we got the next Arcane Journal, and this is the one we've heard about. Our next reveal tells a very different tale. In spring of 2277, as the Chaos Champion Friedel the Chainmaker, a warrior of chaos for people who don't know, ransacks the northern reaches of the Empire. A fleet led by Miao Ying sets out from Grand Cathay, intent on beating back the signs of the Dark Gods, diplomacy with the Empire of Man. So a bit more of the story. This Arcane Journal details the turbulent history as well as the warriors and heroes involved. You'll find terrain generation tables. Actually, we should go back to the other book as well in a moment. Guidelines for multiplayer games, linked battles, so campaigns, and a new army of infamy, the Jade Fleet, and an alliance between Grand Cathay and the people of Westerland. So a little bit
The
of Empire and
people of
Cathay.
Westerland. Yeah. So yeah, Westerland is where is where Marion where Marienburg is, which is cool because Marienburg's supposed to be like the cosmopolitan sort of Amsterdam sort of analog of the Empire. Eventually, it does break off, and I guess this is just the hook. I wonder. I'm curious to know, how did Miao Ying become so interested in rolling out on her ship? I hope they give a little background on that. What draws their attention to Marienburg to come to the rescue?
That is interesting. They definitely set up in the book that there's a lot of like trade delegations that move between. Like maybe they consider it to be an important trade hub. Maybe they know some secrets. Who really knows? Bit of trade. Yeah. Also, Peter's pointed out in the chat, and I want to also follow up. The art on the front cover is maybe one of the best front covers ever.
Ever? That's hyperbolic.
I mean, look at it for a moment.
I like they're coming off the ships, which is really, really cool. And like those are massive junks that they're rolling off of. And yeah, that's kind of evocative, and also just sort of cool. Like if you're just a cabbage eating person from the northern reaches of the Empire, and you see a bunch of Cathayan folks rolling off of a gigantic junk, I think that's probably pretty cool to be, and that's what we're sort of witnessing. We're sort of seeing these people arrive.
It's also such a classic fantasy trope as well. You see it like played out in things like Magician by like Raymond E. Feist. You see it played out in the Wheel of Time, where you see the kind of like Asian themed. Like it's such a classic Asian trope of like Asian warriors landing up on the shores and being a part of like some sort of war. It's very cool to see it like brought to the table. So the other stuff that's exciting in here as well is, and if we go back to that other book, they did say that they were also creating rules for smaller bouts of Warhammer the Old World.
Yeah, and we saw, of course, they sort of tipped their hand at that with their missions that they released, I guess back in January. That was obviously you parlayed that into the 4A pack, which has been really popular for getting people interested in the games. I'm doing an intro game using that 500 point sort of mission set. Be kind of cool. They got 48 pages though, so it's not like a ton of space to really develop that much beyond, I assume, what they've already shown us. Because they got three different armies of infamy. They've got and they've got the rules for smaller games. So we'll see how it goes. Plus, they got to do the narrative element of it, so there'll probably be some cool backstory. See how it goes.
It's true. And then for the other book, and apparently one of several that are coming in the next few months, linked battles, multiplayer games. I need you to know right now, I think multiplayer games might be the pure win button for making this more translatable in the club environment. I mean, like at your local game store, knowing that you could do like 500 points, 750 points, you get together with 4 people, it takes the pressure off a little bit. Hopefully it's not just like I hope it's not like a derpy doubles format, and instead I hope it's a Triumph and Treachery like 4v4 kind of like, mess up. That's pretty funny. Yeah,
I think what it is Triumph and Treachery, or at least that idea, which was my favorite supplement for 8th edition. And Triumph, well, it was its own whole box set, and it was a lot of fun because you still have sort of everyone does their turn in order, but you had different mechanics that allowed you to screw with the other players. And so, yeah, it really was a lot of fun from that perspective, and smaller points and all that kind of stuff. So it would be a great way to intro, and also makes me happy that they're bringing that back. Big question though, when will they drop the siege? Where is the siege? The siege is probably something people really
siege format.
They're really looking for.
I got to say, I'm pretty happy with this. Sure, it wasn't a ton of models, but I think there was a lot of other stuff, which we're going to touch on right now. A lot of stuff that's out there. For me, for the old world, I'm really excited to see that there are 2 new books coming pretty soon, and that they're also giving us different game formats. They're giving us more content. I think that's really, really exciting, because what's really cool about Old World compared to the other systems is we're not getting content for content's sake. We're getting content to expand how we play and how we can play. It's pretty. That's pretty exciting, as well as the ongoing narrative. I love that this is linked. Like Friday, when you and me did the lore video, we were like just some random chaos lady. It just felt like it was justification to put the Warriors book together. But now we know that that's a linked series of stories telling the timeline. That's actually pretty cool, I reckon. Yeah,
and like we were saying, like to date, only really kind of been hinted at and fragmented in all the various Arcane Journals. So this is cool. I'm hoping that this really does, because the other thing that's weird about Old World so far is that there's been practically zero Black Library support, which surprises me a lot. You'd think that this type of a setting would be really inviting for authors to like write books up about and expand on and give detail to and more life to. So it's interesting that the studio is sort of putting that on their back with these books that are being released that I'm sure will have a fair amount of lore in each one of them. And I think the biggest thing from this article is that it's the first of many in the coming months. So like as much as we've seen here already, there could be some more wild stuff coming.
Absolutely. I'm really excited. I think this is great. Let us know what you think in the comments. Now, one thing I know that you definitely want to touch on is you want to talk about the Chaos Dwarfs also emerging into AOS. So do you want to let us know why you're excited to talk about it?
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about it because of whether or not folks are aware. They're certainly at some point in the development of Warhammer the Old World, they stopped assuming that they could use AOS models for it, and they made it so that was a standalone game. And of course, 7 of the factions, which includes Chaos Dwarves, were excluded from being official factions in Warhammer the Old World. But what we've seen steadily in AOS are these sort of resculpts of what were fantasy armies. And so coming into today, I was very certain, I felt a very, very high degree of certainty that when we saw the Chaos Dwarves, that they would be very neutral coded, that they would be something that could go on either side and could be Old World or AOS, because whenever they made this change was a long time ago, was not that long ago, and these armies take a long time to develop. So I think I was a bit wrong. I find that I think with the Chaos Dwarves that we're seeing are the Hellfires of Hashut, Hashut's henchmen.
Yeah, Hashut's henchmen.
They are, to me, I don't know, the more I stare at them, the more I want to see them as Old World models. But they definitely do feel like they are quite grounded in AOS. And I do think that there are some models though that could be used as Old World models. Specifically, that's a Death Shrieker rocket battery, and that's right out of the book. And also the rank and flank they come with spears, but also the sword and board guys I think would do just fine. Do we not have pictures of the second half of the release?
We have no, I don't know if they do. I like scrolling as fast as I can. We've seen the bull centaurs.
Yeah, the centaurs. The centaurs I think would work really well in Old World. I don't know about you. I think they fit right in.
Yeah, they would work.
Yeah, but there's a lot to it that does feel very grounded. Like the Bale Taurus, which I think is so cool looking. The big character guy is very much an AOS model.
It's definitely more. It's definitely more AOS than it is Old World. I would definitely say that. Although it is just literally Drazoth the Ashun.
Yes,
it is that. But
I guess maybe that was part. Maybe that was part of the idea. Is like they have Drazoth. Like they can always just reproduce them if they were going to put this in, if this was going to be Old World. So there were things that were more AOS coded, and other things that weren't. Like the Hobgoblins, those guys are just fine. Look at these guys.
Very cool.
Like those guys will work just fine. So like it was interesting. I was kind of hoping for like basically a second new army for Old World. I think there are lots of pieces you could use from these Chaos Dwarves for Old World, but they are they're definitely an AOS army, that's for sure.
Yes, absolutely. I think they're definitely an AOS army. I don't see. I'm a big Chaos Dwarf fan. I don't. I see the essence of what they could have been in in AOS. And the paint scheme is also, when I talk about this on the AOS channel, I'm going to talk about how I think the paint scheme really also changes this up as well. We saw one alternate paint scheme during the preview, and the red and gold, immediately it was like, oh, okay, I recognize that instinctively. So this has definitely also got a very different vibe. Again, all of the flames are done in green. If all the flames were done in red, how much more would this look like the Chaos Dwarfs that you were expecting to see? So
exactly, yes.
That might change up your opinion. If you are playing Chaos Dwarfs as the Renegade pack, then you're going to be super excited about the fact that you have some alternate sculpts to build if you want to.
You just have some sculpts.
You can just you can have some sculpts, which is pretty fun. But I would say, like, as an Old World fan, like this is a really exciting time. More stuff than we expected, I think, and a roadmap where they definitely were like, we've got more plans. And the Armies of Infamy is a really clever way of just giving new content out without it bringing a big new codex, right?
Yeah, and also, like you pointed out, they're actually, that was weird. On the live preview, they were shown as hardcover books. And then on the Warhammer community article, they're back to the paperbacks that we've seen. The nice thing about the paperbacks is that they're within reach of most folks. Whether or not the content is necessarily something that's like really singing to you, if you just want it for completion's sake or to read what's being developed in it, you can pick it up, and it's not that big a deal. It's not a crazy high price point, which is cool. So they are. This is going to get into a situation where, maybe. If there's tons of these books, we'll see how things react and how worthwhile they are, right? Like, are they going to provide us things that are exciting to pick up these books for? Because when they're attached to an army, like, I don't know, that's very exciting. You want to see all the cool stuff in it. You want to see all those rules and things. You may or may not be all that excited about multiplayer, play or terrain generation or whatever, but we'll see. I'll be very, very curious.
Immediately excited. Like, they did so much with the when they did the match play guide, which again, as you quite rightly pointed out, I think was really smart of you to say, should have been called something else, because there's so much narrative flavor in there. There's so much good, interesting, cool stuff that is like how to play a battle. Battles are emergently narrative, so don't come for me on that point. But like, there's so much stuff there that's able to play. And I'm excited about terrain generation. I am, because especially if you ever play Total War, there's so much, so much of the cities and like the war camps and everything are all mapped out in these siege things. And I want to see those terrains and what rules they're given in the game, and maybe they're not super complicated rules, but also maybe they're really cool rules, and anything that can add to that flavor, because I know that you and me, we are still super focused on making sure we try and bring as many people into playing the Old World as possible.
Yeah, man.
And so more little avenues to drag people in, I think it's great.
And that's it. They're just throwing out all kinds of hooks, and also revisiting stuff that they've published in the past, right? So they're going back to a lot of the classics, which is great. Like I said, Triumph and Treachery, I've got to play it a few times, and I miss it. And it'll be great to have a rule set that's like built for Old World, which is fantastic. So, and man, those Tomb King minis, even though there's only like 2 boxes that come from that. I mean, if that's what all the armies start turning into, that's just really cool, man. Those look outstanding.
Yeah, I think the slow refresh of what the game will look like miniature-wise is going to really take our breaths away. So I'm very, very, very much looking forward to that. As long as we get more sculpts like Cecil, that's all I want. More Cecil-style sculpts. The Worm Slayer.
The Worm Slayer, yes. Well, he's a little resin guy. He's not even a plastic kit. These are proper plastic.
Don't forget about him. Well, thank you for watching. Me and Val have got more stuff. That we've got hot news coming about the Renegade update sometime soon. So that'll be probably the next video that you end up seeing. So more Renegade news and more Old World content coming from us soon. So I hope you're all excited. Thanks, Val. Any shout outs before we go?
No shoutouts aside from the fact that Old World it's a new one. Like, we've got a new edition on our hands. I know you've got tickets up for sale for TSN events that you can get to play in Nottingham. I've got 2 events coming up in the fall and late fall, which would be the Square-Based Open in Toronto, as well as the California Cup and near Los Angeles-ish. So it's going to be an exciting fall, and I hope people, if you're interested in playing with some really cool people, check out the didgeridoo below. I need that sound effect, and grab a ticket.
Thanks for watching. Stay square-based. We'll see you soon.